Hello, Merry Christmas in advance. My name is Wunmi. I posted some while ago on my Facebook and Instagram pages on any questions that anybody wanted me to answer. And one of the questions I got was how to handle a recalcitrant child. And then, what is the meaning of recalcitrant? It means a child that is unwilling to obey authority, a stubborn or rebellious child. So for me, I don't come from the point of view of what are we supposed to do. I want us to first address how did this problem come about? How did this child become rebellious? So in light of that, I'm going to ask some very important questions. It's very important for us to get to the root of that rebellion. That child didn't just start being rebellious in a day. Something must have triggered it. Something must have happened to cause that child to become a rebellious child or a stubborn child, as the case may be. And so one of the questions I'll be asking, I want us to, as parents, ask ourselves, or even work with the child, is the first thing is, for children that have always gotten away with what they wanted. Some people raise children and then instead of the child crying, they prefer to give the child whatever the child wants. At that point in time, you feel it's okay to give the child what he wants. The day you now refuse and you want to be a firmer parent, you want to be like, no, you cannot always have what you want, you should expect rebellion. Every man doesn't like change. Most of us, we don't like change. So if all the while you've been pampering, let me use that word, the child, giving it to everything that the child wants, then there comes a time, maybe by virtue of the fact that you've gone for some parenting classes, or you've listened to some people talk, or you've come to the realization that, oh, this is not the best way to help this child, then you want to change. The child automatically becomes rebellious. The child will resist that change. Nobody wants to leave the comfort zone. So that's very important for us to understand. So I want to also ask you, has that child always been like that? For those children that is like, okay, all of a sudden you need to check and ask that, okay, so what happened? Why is the child now rebellious? What happened? What major change happened in the life of this child? Is it that he changed school? Is it that we changed the neighborhood? Is it that the child doesn't like this new school? Is it that is the child being bullied? Is there something that the child is not really coming out to say? And then maybe for teenagers, you need to be able to check and ask that, okay, so maybe he has new set of friends, and those kind of clique, they are the kind of cliques that they want to, teenagers, they want to show that, oh, they are macho, and then the best way they feel they can express themselves is by going against authority. So it all depends. You need to ask very important question. Another reason could also be like, okay, so maybe for instance, the child has expressed a need to you. No, let me say wants. Maybe for your teenage child, the child wants a laptop or a new phone, and then you ignore the child. Now listen to the word I said, ignored. I didn't say you did not buy it for the child. Ignoring the child isn't the best way to go. If for any reason you can't actually give the child that, you need to communicate. You need to be able to sit the child down and let the child know and say, okay, for now I'm not able to do this, but not that you are going to ignore the child. Ignoring the child actually may lead the child to become rebellious. So trying to handle what you don't know the root of is an issue. So now I'm trying to say, okay, we need to get to why the child is actually rebellious, and then you need to look at it. What is my own parenting style? Am I an oracle parent? Am I a real life parent? Am I a mentor parent? What does this mean? Depending on the age of your child, as your child grows, you move from being an oracle that is, oh my, children love their parents and they're always like, my daddy said, by the point in that they begin to become aware of who they are, they want to be their own person, and then you are still having it in mind that this child is still my child, is still sit down there and everything. But the child is growing, is entering into teenagehood. Then you need to move from being an oracle or ruler to a mentor parent. At this point in time, you are more involved with the child, you are relating closer. Now, let's be careful. Not as a friend, but more as a mentor, somebody that is guiding the child and, being letting the child know that is accountable to you. So you need to assess, okay, that what are my parenting style? Is my parenting style conflicting with my child temperament? Then are you a parent that is present? That's important. Some children want attention, and the best way they feel they can get it is by being rebellious. And so when you are not present in your child's life, now when I say present, I'm not saying be there 24 hours. Of course, nobody can be with the child 24 hours. But being present is letting your child understand that he has a listening ear in you, he has an arm that is ever stretched out to always welcome him, whatever happens. He is like, the child understands that I have somebody that is on my side. So even if you are not there, the child knows that anytime mommy walks in, or I can easily get on the phone and be able to relate with my parent. And then understanding that, oh, even as busy as you are, creating a time to bond with your child. It's very important that family learn to bond, parents learn to bond with their children. That's very important. There's a need for that child that is rebellious, that is stubborn. I would advise the parent to take out time one-on-one with the child. How can you do that? You could go on a drive. You could go to a very serene place, a quiet place, where the child will be able to open up and actually tell you what are his or her challenges. Of course, something must have caused that rebellion. So you don't just say, okay, I want to deal with this rebellion. We are going to first address what happened that made this child to be rebellious. What happened that made him to start disobeying authorities? What is it that this child is experiencing? What are those issues that is affecting him? What are those things that triggered that rebellious nature? And then I want us to pray. It's so important for you to pray for your child. Parenting, it's a lot of work. And then, the Bible says that the heart of kings is in God's hands, and the heart of your child is in the hands of God. So you pray, 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 and pray. Prayer is so very important when we are raising children. This will also help them praying out the rebellious nature and being able to do that. And then if it continues, I advise you to take the child to go and see a counselor. Rebellious nature must be addressed urgently, because it could lead to a lot of things, especially for our male children. The prisons are full because of our male children. Most of them, they are crying out for help. Most of them didn't just become criminals, they started from the heart of rebellion. So please let the child see a counselor. So on this note, I hope I've been able to help you address this issue. So as parents, we need to work with that. You can work with that and go back and check all of the things I've highlighted. And so I'll invite you to join my next workshop. It's a family bond workshop. There we discuss a lot of things. It's a workshop that we don't only discuss. I teach the how to help parents to bond with their children, to communicate with their children, and then to have that family bond that is so strong. Until I see you again, I remain Wunmi. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year in advance. Bye.